Hello everyone, this is Scorp the Gamer, and this is a tutorial on how to make a contraption to farm XP and mob essence based around the essence berry bush from Tinker's Construct. And there's quite a few extra pieces here, but the three main components are the harvester, the autonomous activator, and the sewer. And then we'll show you how to wire these up, plumb them up, and then the extra devices, I'll show you what they do. It's really fairly straightforward. So let's grab the sewer, the harvester, and the autonomous activator and get started here. We'll put the sewer down below ground level. We'll place the autonomous activator like this so that the output point will be facing towards us, and we'll be injecting the mana berries into the sewer here like that. It works with its own power, so you don't need to power it separately. And then the input is over here. Now by default it's marked to export, so open it up and go to the configuration and click this as blue input. And while you're there, make sure it's on right click, which it should be by default. No sneaking, doesn't really matter, I don't believe here. Round robin, so it hits all the boxes, and then aim low. Okay, and then I always disable redstone control because I really don't need to turn these things on or off. And then the next part you'll put down is the harvester on top. And the harvester again will face the direction you're facing. Hopefully it'll go on like that. Nope. If it doesn't face the right way, hit it with a wrench until the grate portion is facing in this direction towards the sewer. Okay, and then the output will be facing in the opposite direction. Okay, and then we'll want to put down a chest here so that we can monitor operations at certain points. It's not really necessary, but it helps, I think, as a buffer, and also to see if you have any jams in the piping system. Okay, so as you see, this is the way it's wired up, with the harvester intake right here and autonomous activator with its output. It's actually acting as a player, and in this instance it'll be right clicking on the inventory that's in it down onto the sewer, as if you were dropping the inventory down onto the sewer. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is put some piping in. It'll be item ducts. Okay, now the item duct attaches from the harvester to the box, and from the box to the autonomous activator. Now double check at this point that you have your autonomous activator set to blue for input, because as you saw, by default it goes down as red output, and if you don't change this it won't work. Okay, so it should be set to blue, and if you don't do it before you put the pipe down, you won't be able to see it, the item duct. Okay, and then we want to channel the flow through the item duct using a wrench. Okay, I'm sorry, that's the wrong pipe. So here is going to be output. A red is out from the harvester down through the pipe, through the chest, and then out of the chest and into the autonomous activator. Okay, so now we need to set up our berry bush farm. So the easiest way to do this is to get up to the level where you want to be to put the berry bushes. Okay, and build a platform of dirt. Now I don't know the exact width range of the harvester as far as how many blocks to the left or the right of the bushes that it, or any crop for that matter, that it'll harvest. So I just put it one on each side. You can look that up. And then what you want to do is build this platform out 7 blocks. Okay, so that's what, 5, and then 2 more. Now this is all this is doing is giving you a place to plop down your essence berry bushes. Okay, now essence berry bushes are a little rare, and go ahead and consult the wiki as to where to find them. But when you plop them down, they'll be in the juvenile phase or ungrown phase, and they won't be producing berries until they reach the full-size block that you see over there. So go ahead and place these down here like this. Okay, and then get rid of your scaffolding here. Okay, now that'll have to grow and mature before it will be harvesting, be producing berries that the harvester can harvest. So we need some power for the harvester. You can use whatever you use to provide power. It takes all 3 different types of power. And so let's put some of this back, make some room. Okay, so what we can do is run our power cable in to the harvester, and for this video demonstration purpose, I'm just going to put the power cell up here, the redstone energy cell. And this one's a fully charged one, so we'll have plenty of power. And when you do that, you'll see that the harvester now has power, and it's pulsing. Okay, it has no work to do yet because there's no berries to be harvested, and leave the sheer leaves and small shrooms to know on this. Okay, and so now it's waiting for something to harvest. All right, now we need to route the excess. What happens is the harvester, when it's harvesting the berry, you know, just like in real life, you know, you pick grapes or something from a vine, you're going to have stems and leaves and stuff, you know, extra, whatever, you know, that you want to get rid of. So the way to do that with the harvester is to get some fluid duct, okay, and attach it to the bottom of the harvester, because again the main output is through the back here opposite the input. Okay, so bring this out, and then you can use drums or barrels or furnaces, you know, whatever you want to use this stuff for. You can route it to where you want it to go. Okay, so I'm just going to stick this in a drum just to show you that it does produce this stuff. Okay, now the drums are neutral and unlabeled until you start to pipe stuff into them, and then they change their labeling to whatever material they're collecting. Now again, the sewer also produces a waste product in the manipulation of these manna berries called sewage. Okay, so you'll want to use an item duct or a fluid duct for that also. Okay, so what we're going to do is cut out a channel below here and put in fluid duct to the bottom of the sewer, and then we can put another barrel here. You can put it wherever you want, route it as you see fit, and put it up a little higher so it's more obvious here. Okay, and then the oops, I put that on the wrong spot. Yeah, you want to be careful here. So put this on the side of the sewer. Okay, now this, in the sewer menu, the column on the left is your actual product that you're after, and then this is the sewage that comes out over here on the right. Now, if things are working normally, you won't see anything in those slots until this fills up or the other item duct gets full. Okay, so now out of the bottom of the sewer, we want to have more fluid duct coming out. And then we want to route this to whatever container we want to store the mob essence. Okay, so in this case I'm just using the open blocks tanks, and you can build whatever size tank you want here. And make sure that the fluid duct connects to the tank. Probably the easiest way would be to come up like that. Doesn't really matter. All of this is based on how you want to orient it in your world. Okay, so now another key important component on this is that you have to insert objects in the fluid duct at the point where you want to control the flow. Okay, so what you use for that are pneumatic servos. Okay, so we want to control the flow right here at the bottom of the sewer output. So right click, and now it's installed, and you should be able to right click on it and let me see, let me get some stuff out of my inventory here. And that opens up the menu to control the fluid duct. So the first thing I do is I disable redstone control. Okay, and then I use a standard wrench and right click on it until it shows output. Red with the arrow pointing away from the object means it's going to draw that material out. Okay, so what is it going to draw? Well, you have to tell it what you want it to take out of the sewer. Okay, and in this case we want it to take out the mob essence. Okay, so you're going to have to get yourself a sample of the mob essence. How you do that I don't know, but you're going to have to get a sample of it. Okay, and then blank hand, right click, put the mob essence here, right click it into the one of the slots here. Okay, so you are now telling the filter to filter mob essence and pass it. You're whitelisting it. Okay, and the redstone is disabled. Now the same thing has to be done on the other part of the fluid flowing here, and that is for the sewage that comes out. So again, we need to install a pneumatic servo here on this attachment to the sewer. Okay, so now it shows, the message shows that it's been installed successfully, and then right click on it, tell it what you want to pass through this port, whitelist it, make sure it's control status disabled. Okay, and now you have to hit it with a wrench, and the first tick is export or take out. So the red arrow indicating that you want the sewage to go into this drum. Okay, now that's pretty important that you do that, or you won't get what you're expecting. Okay, now the same thing has to be done on the item ducts here. Okay, so as you see now, this is unpowered. We've set the direction, but we need to be able to control this. So what I'm going to do is install a pneumatic servo here. Okay, and then I'm going to right click on it, which gives me now a control panel. The servo provides this control panel for us. Otherwise it's just a passive duct. And I'm going to disable redstone control. Okay, and then I have to tell it what I want to pull out of here and into my system and carry it through to the autonomous activator. So I'm going to give it a sample of what I want it to pass, which is the concentrated essence berry. Okay, so again, your best bet is to right click with an empty hand on the end that has the servo. Okay, actually doesn't matter. Click on the export side here, the one with the red arrow that's taking items out. Tell it you want it to take out berries, okay, and whitelist it. You have to whitelist it. If you wanted a device to pull everything except something, you could blacklist that something and say, no, don't pull that. To pull the one item that you do want in this situation, you need to whitelist it, okay? Again, control status disabled. Now we need to do the same thing here. Now the chest is really not essential, but I find that for troubleshooting, it's a good indicator if berries are being harvested but they're not being ejected through the activator. Okay, so if they're getting stuck, so I go ahead and put in this chest, so which means now that I have to adjust these item ducts so that they're operating correctly. Okay, so I can't get into the control panel on this one because a pneumatic servo must be installed for control. So I'm going to grab my pneumatic servo and right click on the export side here. Now it's installed. Now go to a blank hand, right click, tell it what you want to export, whitelist it, disable redstone control. Okay. Now if you wanted to have complete control over this system, you could hook it up, redstone wires or whatever to turn these ducts off. I mean, this can allow you to make some very complex plumbing decisions more automated. Okay, we don't need it in this scenario. Okay, so now we have the mana berries being harvested by the harvester, passed through the ducts to the autonomous activator. And essentially, it will right-click on the sewer with a mana berry in its hand. That's what the autonomous activator does. It replaces the players standing there and right-clicking something. Okay, so now we have, I think, everything set up to actually harvest what we're after here, which is mob essence. Okay, now a scenario occurs where some of the essence balls, what you see as XP balls, doesn't get converted to mob essence and will accumulate around the sewer. Now the sewer pulls, I think, in a 3-block radius. Okay, but I'm not sure exactly why, but XP balls will accumulate around here when you come to visit this after a few minutes or an hour, and you really want to capture these. This is also a very valuable byproduct of what we're doing here. The main thrust is to get mob essence to power an Auto-Enchanter. Okay, and I'll go over that in a minute. So what you really want to do is put a vacuum hopper in another tank down here. Okay, so the vacuum hopper again is open blocks, and then we can grab our tank. I think I'm done with that and that. Excuse me. Okay, so we want to put the vacuum hopper in the vicinity of the sewer opening. Okay, so that any extra liquid XP or those little balls that might be lost will be vacuumed up and put in a tank. So the easiest way for me is just to plop it down right here. Okay, and then we want to build some sort of a tank for it to collect those balls and put it in the tank for us. Okay. Now this has to be configured as to what it is you want it to do. So right click on it. Let me get rid of some of this. Okay, so now right click on it and you'll have two options, one for liquids and one for objects. We want liquids here, and we want this face to be the output. Okay, so it's green for liquids. Okay, if I click this, it would add another ring for objects, for items. Okay, so now this vacuum hopper is going to suck up any of those extra experience balls and pump them into this tank, okay, which is what you see here. This tank has 10,015 liquid XP. Okay, so when the system's up and running, the berry bushes are mature and they're producing berries. One will pop open here in a minute and you'll see what I'm talking about. And the harvester is pulling the berries off the bushes, sending the berries through the system. The autonomous activator is right-clicking them on the sewer, which then converts it into mob essence and waste byproduct called sewage. Okay, so primarily what we're after is the mob essence to use for enchanting, but the XP is a wonderful byproduct, so that you can add levels for your armor repair or whatever you need for enchanting through the normal means. So once this is up and running, you'll see this, like right here is a berry. In a moment it'll harvest this berry. As it works its way, the harvester works its way through the grid of the bushes or crops in front of it. Okay, and that'll disappear, and then be transported through this pipe down into the autonomous activator. Okay, it's essential that you get your pipe set up. Redstone control, sample, whitelist. Redstone control disabled, sample, whitelist. Okay, so you just saw it harvest one there. See, there it goes right now, right there. Okay, did you see that XP ball fly off? Well, that would have been wasted. You'd come back here in an hour and you'd see these things sitting around here and they'd be wasted. So it got vacuumed up into this hopper, which is set to take liquids of that type and put them into the liquid tank. Okay, actually I don't think you even need a sample here. That's for a different use, but anyway. Okay, so that is the setup. Now what you would use this mob essence for, obviously, is to enchant. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. I'm going to do this real quick. It's not that big of a deal. Okay, so you have a enchanting auto-enchanter here. You have the fluid duct hooked up. You have the pneumatic servo installed where you want it here. Actually, do I want it there? Yeah. Actually, I don't think you even need this. Skip that. I don't think you need it because it's the only thing this tank is going to have is what you want. Okay, so that's only when you need to be more selective. Okay, and then you need to power this. And the Auto-Enchanter requires power, so we can put down an energy cell here and power that, and right click on this, and you can, if you want it just to run, you can disable that, and then your output has to be where you want it. I think that's the correct face, yeah. So you've turned these blue dots into brown or red, you know, so that the power is going from the redstone energy conduit to the Auto-Enchanter. So now the Auto-Enchanter has power, and when this starts harvesting mob essence, it'll have the fluid it needs. And so what you get, obviously, from all this is an auto-enchanting table, which you can enchant objects randomly as far as to effect to a level you choose. If you want to put just a lighter enchant, you can turn this down. If you want to put the maximum, which is 30, you can put your item in, and what you'll see is now that it's using the mob essence to enchant this item. Alright, so that's how all this works. The mob essence is used as a source of enchantment, and then you can enchant these devices how you see fit. So if I turn this down, I can finish it quickly, and that enchant gave me Smite 3. And I can put it back in depending on the device and add an additional enchant. That depends on the device how many it can take. Okay, so that's it. I mean, that's the basic method of doing all this, and it works pretty good, and there's lots of different ways to do things here, to route things, but it's pretty straightforward. The hard part is to remember to get these servos installed correctly, okay, and get the filters set up correctly. That way just the berries come down, the sewage gets drawn off. Actually sewage here, and I can't remember the name of it, the sludge gets drawn off from the ore processing, the berry processing, and the sewage gets drawn off from the sewer. Okay, and good, those are useful too for different things. But you can also set this XP tank up with an XP shower, if you can see that little goober right there. You need to be careful with this, because if you just put it on a tank by itself, it's going to immediately suck the tank out onto the ground. So before you put the shower head on, put down a redstone switch and figure out, using a piece of redstone, which way is on and which way is off, because the shower head is on by default. So you want to send it a redstone signal to turn it off. And again, you know, the redstone signal's coming out both ends of this switch. So let me see if I have another shower head, because I just broke that one. There we go. And now you put this on the side of the tank, and then you can flip the switch, and you get a shower of XP. What could be better? Okay. Alright, well that's this tutorial, and I hope it's clear and you can see what's going on here. You might need to stop and replay it, obviously, to get some of the finer points as far as how to set things up. But if you're like me, I concentrate on building things, and I'm not always out fighting monsters and getting XP, but I do need to repair my armor and enchant things, so this is a real easy way to do it. It's a little OP, but hey, it's fun. Alright, check back later. I'm going to be doing some additional tutorials when I have a chance, and please come and see me on Twitch TV, Scorp the Gamer, all one word. I have a regular schedule. I try to be on that schedule, and you can play along with me. Thanks.